Hi, it's KCCK's Culture Crawl. I'm Dennis Green, and my guests today are from Merry Tuba Christmas, coming up December 7th in Cedar Rapids. Jim Engelbach and Kyle Patrick. Gentlemen, thanks for being here.
Thanks
you for having us.
If you are listening on the radio, unfortunately, this is one of those occasions when you're kind of missing out because both Jim and Kyle are dressed in full Merry Tuba Christmas regalia, mainly buttons. So you must do a button every year, huh?
Every year the Tuba Christmas National Foundation sends out buttons, and part of your fee goes to the button. And it's a real badge of honor to have a lot of buttons. Everybody shows all their buttons from all the years that they've been here. We each have, I think, 18.
18 now.
Okay, and is this year 18?
Our 18th year.
So you've been involved all the time it's been going on?
We are the originators.
Okay.
In Cedar Rapids.
In Cedar Rapids.
In Cedar Rapids.
Right,
yeah.
because the thing that I did not realize until I started poking into this is Merry Tuba Christmas, not just a bunch of tuba players getting together. It's actually a nationwide franchise.
It is indeed. The first one was in 1974 on Rockefeller Square on the ice rink up there, done by a guy named Harvey Phillips. Harvey Phillips is kind of the namesake foundation that got the Tuba Christmas event going. He was a student of a guy named William Bell, who happened to be the principal tubist in the New York Symphony.
Who also happens to be from Iowa.
Who is also from
Iowa.
Born in Creston, Iowa in
That's right.
1904, I believe, or 02.
Well, Harvey Phillips approached the management team of Rockefeller Square and said, hey, I'd like to bring some tuba players out here and do a Christmas concert for you. And they kind of said, no. So Harvey Phillips said, well, how about if I give you some references? And they said, well, let's give us some references and we'll check it out. His references, Leonard Bernstein, Andre Kostelanetz. They checked his references. They said, come on in. We'd be glad to have you. 300 players showed up that day.
Wow.
That was the first Tuba Christmas in '74. It's been going on ever since.
Yeah.
Do we know how many Tuba Christmases happen around the country?
Mm-hmm.
There are almost 300, I believe,
This
around this year going on. And it's not just national, it's international. There are foreign countries that have some. Jim had a picture he showed me the other day of a bunch of guys from probably in the armed services and army, probably in Afghanistan, performing a Tuba Christmas a couple of years ago.
In 2004, somehow I made contact through the website, the Tuba Christmas website, found out that a gentleman named Sergeant Jacobs was putting together a Tuba Christmas event in Afghanistan. He sent me a picture of, and I wish I could share this with your listeners, but there are four players, two tuba players and two baritone players. They're all wearing Santa hats. They've all got an instrument. They're all in fatigues, and they're in a hot zone. So just in case their rifles are slung on their back, and they couldn't do a concert, so what they did is they roamed around the compound and serenaded the soldiers that were on their post. So that was kind of unique. It's one of the more different performances we've ever heard of.
How did the Cedar Rapids Tuba Christmas get started?
Well, at the time I was working for West Music, I was on the management team at Marion West Music, and Jim and a friend of his, a gentleman by the name of Sid Blair, came in one day and they were looking for a sponsor for a new event, and they came and approached me about Tuba Christmas. I think they were surprised that, first of all, that I knew what it was, because I had heard of it before. I'd actually been to a Tuba Christmas event in Minneapolis. And I also said, well, if you're going to do it, I'm playing, because I'm a baritone player, so I'll jump in and play. And they were kind of surprised that I actually even knew what they were talking about. And that was West Music has been our sponsor ever since, and has helped out in a lot
Great
of ways.
relationship.
And that was in 2002 probably when they approached me.
Now, what Kyle's not telling you about that meeting is he was on the phone when we walked into his office, and he saw us, and he knew who we were, and he's saying to the other end, well, I'm going to have to cut you off right now because two tuba players just walked in, and they talk really slow.
Yeah, and that was the beginning, and we've been doing it together ever since. Unfortunately, we lost Sid Blair a few years ago to cancer. He was a great guy, great tuba player, great sense of humor. He was from Anamosa. Anamosa, yeah.
So why tuba? Why has this become such a thing? Is it just the spectacle of seeing so many tubas and baritones in one place? Is it the sound? What why is it just the word tuba? Maybe it's just the word tuba.
It's all of the above.
I agree. It's unique.
It is unique. It's an incredible sound. We normally have right around 100 players show up at our event. We'll have anywhere between 85 and 100 players show up. Our record, we had 140 one year. And there is no sound like all of those low brass players playing familiar Christmas songs. It's a sound that you won't get anywhere else. And the other thing is, and Jim always points this out, that the players in the tuba and the euphonium and the baritone and the sousaphones, they never get featured in the band. Almost never are they out front playing the solos, playing the melody, getting all the attention. So it's kind of fun to move them to the front and not allow any of those trumpets, those clarinets, those slidey
Are
horns,
those saxophones?
No saxophones allowed. Not a one.
So this is coming up December 7th, yes?
Yes.
And where will it be? Explain to me how it's all laid out. And 100 tubas, 100 plus room for an audience. You got to have pretty big space,
Well, we need a lot of space.
and a little space between you and the audience too.
Like I always say, we're a bunch of big guys with big horns.
Yeah. And we don't travel light. Oh, I guess when we first started playing, we were down at Westdale Mall. And they hosted us for a long time. And then, of course, Westdale.
And look what happened to that place.
Yeah, look what we did there. But anyway, when we were no longer able to perform at Westdale, we were homeless, actually, for a year. We didn't have a venue to go to. So we ended up talking with some folks with the local Economic Development Council, saying, this is what we do. We'd like to have a performance venue. It's not that we're a low-budget venue. It's that we're a no-budget operation. So
we can't afford to pay rent.
Yeah, so, we can't take out a hall at the hotel for $500 or anything like that. I said, can you help us out? And they said, well, let me get back to you. And they did. And what they did was they put us in touch with the Cedar Rapids Downtown Library. Well, if you haven't been into that library, it's a fantastic event. They got a beautiful foyer. They got all kinds of books in there, obviously, but it's so well arranged. Well, we got to meet Amber McKenna in there, and she's the director of community relations.
Right.
And she was thrilled to have us. And she's the community relations person, but she's really a magic elf. All we have to do now is show up. She has the rooms reserved for us. They take care of all of the seating that we need to have. She just does it all. And they like us coming back every year, to the point with the first year, didn't they bring in the board of directors just so they could hear what we were all about?
Right.
So are you in the library proper?
Yep.
You're too big for one of the auditoriums.
We rehearse in. They have a large meeting hall upstairs, and that's where we rehearse in the morning. And then the show is at 2:00 in the afternoon, and we take up the entire first floor inside the front office. If you've been in the library, as you come in the door, there's a coffee shop off to the right, if you're coming off of 4th Avenue.
So kind of in that area.
We set up
starting in that area.
Right. We set up the band, all the tubas, in front of the coffee shop. They clear out all the tables, and then chairs are set up on the other side of the entrance for the audience. And a lot of people bring lawn chairs. And then there's a balcony all the way around the top, and it's always lined with people watching. It's a good turnout every year, and it's a lot of fun. We do a sing-along. Everybody's invited to sing the familiar carols with us, and it's just a lot of fun. We don't take ourselves very seriously. We take the music very seriously, but we don't take ourselves very seriously, as is evidenced by these goofy hats.
Well, we have, when you get together with a bunch of tuba players, we have two mantras that we go by. One is the horn was tuned at the factory when they made it, and the other is if you can't play good, you got to play loud. But do one or the other.
So we mentioned that just tubas and baritones, which for those who don't know looks like a smaller tuba.
Right.
And then do you have also sousaphones,
Oh, yeah.
which are incorrectly identified as tubas, but those are the
It's a
marching band
tuba
tubas.
that you wear.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, and euphonium, which is another name for tuba or baritone. And there is a registration fee. Anybody is invited to come and play. There's a registration fee, and there's a book that we play out of. Once you buy the book, we use the same book every year. And like we said, there's other events around the country. They use that same music, so you can use that same book. You only have to buy that book one time. We have added a few other pieces that we've collected along the way of some other music that was not in the book, just to add a little variety to ours. So anybody's invited to come and play, and the ability level is irrelevant. We have kids come and play that just got the horn. They're 5th and 6th graders that just got the horn in September and only know 5 or 6 notes, but they're certainly welcome to come and play the notes that they can play. On the other end of the spectrum, we have guys that are like professional players or educators or college teachers, professional low brass people that come and play. And everything in between. We have guys that play all the time. We have guys that just dust their horn off once a year to come to Tuba Christmas, and that's the only time they ever
And
play.
of course, we're saying guys, but I know that
and
it
ladies,
is, that
and
it is
absolutely.
it is all genders.
Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely.
I know our big Mo, John Heim, has been a part of this
He has,
over
yep,
the years as well. He's kind of our resident tuba expert here at KCCK. So Saturday, December 7th,
Right.
2 p.m., Cedar Rapids Public Library. You did mention a registration fee for participants. Is there a ticket fee for attendees?
No.
No charge.
Free to the public.
All right.
Absolutely free to the public.
We encourage our participants to decorate themselves festively and to decorate their horns festively, and we encourage our audience to decorate themselves also. We give away awards for the best decorated tuba. We give an award for the best dressed participant. No, that's not it.
Most decorated.
Furthest
traveled.
Oldest and youngest.
Oldest and youngest. The youngest player we ever had was 8 years old.
Wow.
And the boy's grandmother rewrote the music so that all he had to play was whole notes in every measure in the music. Made it real simple. Had a blast. And our senior players are what, in their 70s now?
At
Late
least
70s?
70s, yeah.
In fact, we had 2 guys that every year said, "You want to be the oldest this year?" "No, I was the oldest last year. You be the oldest," because they were both like 80. Yeah, it was kind of funny to watch them, and they were both great players. That was what was
absolutely
cool. Both were great players.
It's Merry Tuba Christmas coming up at the Cedar Rapids Public Library, Saturday, December 7th. 2 p.m. Get there early to get the best seat or standing spot because the band takes up a lot of room.
That's right.
It does.
Big musicians, big horns for Merry Tuba Christmas. Great way to kick off the holiday season. Well, it just sounds like a blast. Have fun with it, and thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks
you.
for having us.
You can hear the Culture Crawl live on the radio most weekdays at 10:20 or download the video podcast. Watch or listen on your own schedule at kcck.org/culture or using your favorite podcast app. I'm Dennis Green, and I'll talk to you later.